So the Falcons, my favorite team.
I was going to say, that sounded personal. That sounded like something you really felt.
No, it is personal. It is personal because I still am not over how hard my phone and my Twitter mentions blew up when they picked Penix, and they did have an absolutely puzzling offseason. And I think when you look at where they were last year and where they are now and what they've added, I don't know how much better they've gotten. Like, you add Kirk Cousins, which is obviously a big upgrade from where they were. You get Darnell Mooney. So, like, your offense, in theory, should be set. But, like, on defense, they didn't add anything. Unless you're banking on, like, Rook, the Clemson defensive tackle they drafted round 2, becoming something right away, which I think is a little foolhardy to believe that. You have Grady Jarrett coming off an ACL injury, and he's, 30 plus. So who knows how that's going to turn out. And quietly, I felt this during the season, but my fan pride wouldn't let me say it. That defense was pretty overrated last year. They were beating up on a lot of bad offenses, and they kind of wasted the offseason. I don't think they're nearly as good as they think they are. And I think this could be a pretty rude awakening for them once they start playing some of the better offenses in the league.
Yeah, and there is a model for the Kirk Cousins offseason. Like, look at what Tampa Bay did when they got Brady. They didn't waste their resources on a backup. They didn't waste their resources on kind of like building a foundation. They're like, screw that, we're going all in. The defense was loaded already, and they really leaned into that rather than like, oh, we're going to have our cake and eat it too. Like, the talking points with the Penix thing just make no sense to me. Like, they're like, oh yeah, now we have our quarterback for right now and we're set up for the future. It's like, you're the Falcons. You don't get to do long-term planning. No, like, that's what the Chiefs and teams like that get to do, not you. So it really does feel like a wasted opportunity. I thought the Penix pick, like, I'm not a big fan of him as a prospect, but my analysis of that pick goes far beyond that. I just think it's a wasted opportunity. I think the opportunity cost of not taking maybe an impact defensive player there. I know that's what they were mocked to take. Like, Dallas Turner it's like 80% of the mocks, he was going to them. And I really think that would have helped them take a larger step this year. Because like you said, they don't have dudes on defense, especially dudes that you can craft a game plan around. And you don't have time in Atlanta. You have a 36-year-old quarterback with a bad Achilles.
Yeah. I think the Falcons have done a tremendously poor job of self-scouting this offseason. Like, they seem to think of themselves as like a Super Bowl contender, which is just not even close to reality.
The most egregious thing, though, over the last couple of years, which they couldn't really follow the Bucs model here too, is they should have just went back to the old throwbacks. I really think that's the genesis of all their problems, is these terrible uniforms.